I tell jokes. I tell jokes in different area codes. Area codes. Jokes. In different area codes. Area codes. Now you thought that I was just 212 and 210. I'm worldwide. Don't act like you don't know. In Afghanistan performing for the troops. Kept thinking, where the fuck do people take their poops? 718s, 202s. I left most gigs with IOUs. 901, matter of fact, 305. Quincy Jones G4, meet me outside. 312 and 313s. That's where Dan Filato fucks Rick Steves. 210s, back on track. All these kids coming and you know he's black. 619, 916, sound like jizz on my belly. Drug charges won't stick. 707, 303s, bad road coke with Bob Levy. Is it cause they like my guinea walk? Guinea walk. Is it cause they like my witty talk? Witty talk. Is it cause they like my handsome face? Handsome face. Is it cause they like my Jersey ways? Jersey ways. Whatever it is, they love it and they just won't let me be on Twitter. Harass Ryan Sharman, Steve Torelli, freak out. If I don't do like 20 podcasts a week, just calm down before I let Bosco come in for me. I tell jokes. I tell jokes in different area codes. Area codes. Jokes. In different area codes. Area codes.
What is that? We got mysterious music coming out. Did Jackie leave a photobomb? Is that your new ringtone?
No. It's just...
Leave all this in. People think it's fascinating. Look at this hot chick on CNN. Anderson Cooper. He's hot. Look at him. If you had to fuck a guy...
Oh, God.
For me, it'd be Anderson Cooper. Easy, because of the money. You're not just fucking him. First of all, he's thin. If you just isolate his ass, if you put enough...
Oh, God.
He's got to wax his asshole.
Oh,
he's a yuppie gay guy with a ton of money. They wax their assholes.
Oh, God.
Do you understand? I had a buddy who nicknamed his car Asshole, so you could say he's waxing his asshole. I just completely made that up. And it's not that funny of a joke. I'm making that joke, you think I'm not a professional comedian. I'm like the least funny guy at the water cooler of the dickhead accountant firm. But, yeah, if you, in other words, here's the deal. You put enough lube on your cock, and then you put a rubber on, more lube, and then a rubber, like a rubber lube parfait all over your dick. So you have no... Now look, this is not because Anderson Cooper's filthy. If I was a gay guy, I would... He'd be like, his asshole's got to be the thing. Like, you know how tight... I'm trying to think of the chick. Like, Kate Bosworth probably has a real tight pussy. He's probably got her asshole... His asshole to gay guys is probably like her pussy to guy. Like, you probably... It's probably... This black thing's getting away from me. You know, we're going to do a character. Me trying to blow a black guy. Watch. We got to get video of that. The mic is loose to the stand. I can't get... Get video of this stand. This is me trying to blow Lexington Steel, but I'm drunk too drunk in a porno. Ready? Motherfucker, suck it. Hi, I'm drunk. Lexington, stay still. I'm staying still. Are we on a boat? Yeah, this is the whole premise of the porno is we're on a yacht together, and you blow me. I'm trying to get it. Lexington State, it's the boat, motherfucker. I assume Lexington still sounds like this. It's the boat. Motherfucker, we in high tide and shit. Francis Ford Dopel over there put us over on the wrong tide and shit. I'm on a lot of meth. I smoked a lot of meth. Like, is this your cock? It's my cock, motherfucker. I can't get at it. Oh, this reminds me of LA County, this angle. I can't. Look, suck on my Bozak. My Bozak. I had to come, man. I had to. It's enough of that bit. What were we talking about? What was I just talking about?
You were talking about Anderson Cooper.
Cooper's asshole. Yeah, it must be so tight. Because you know it's kept well since he's a kid. Since he figured out he was a gay guy. Or maybe Gloria Vanderbilt. She was very progressive. Very hip. And in the New York scene with the jeans, she probably wanted a gay kid. She probably wanted that to say, I have a gay child. One of my children is gay. I'm thinking it's Anderson. That's why we named him that very, very, is he this, is he that? Anderson. And, of course, his father's Cooper. And Cooper had a guy we called the Cooper Pooper Stooper. He took little Cooper, and he took his pooper, and he became a stooper. For you people who are wondering what a stooper is in the Jewish vernacular, they call ski blue. I, of course, am white Anglo-Saxon Protestant church mate. Yeah, they have a thing called schivozza. That means you hate something. Actually, that's Italian. Now, to stoop is to have sexual intercourse. To stoop. Or to stoop. In my favorite year, the character actor Rempel von Pumplestein, who you've seen in other things like Everything Under But Sex was Fantastic, plays a man who likes to dress up like a woman. He plays the Caitlyn Jenner of his time. And he's a very fat man plays the uncle of the main character of the show is based on Mel Brooks. Right, if your show shows Peter O'Toole plays a guy who comes in as the guest star of the show. A swashbuckling guy.
Alan Swan.
Alan Swan. Schwoop Schwan Schwarzer. The Schwarzer Schwan. He was in the Black Swan. It was the Schwarzer Schwan. Yes, Black Swan played the Black Swan and the Schwarzer Schwan. The 1950s Brooklyn version of the Black Swan. The Schwarzer Schwan. This is the quality entertainment for a quarter a day. The Schwarzer Schwan. Starring Natalie Portman. The Schwarzer Schwan with Natalie Portman. Directed by Darren Aronofsky. The Schwarzer Schwan. And, yeah. So, an Anderson Cooper Pooper Stooper, stooping sexual intercourse would be someone who goes to Cooper's pooper, pooper being something you poop out of, your arsehole, and you stoop it. The past tense stooper. Cooper Pooper Stooper. No, but, that's the prize. That's the gay prize. Now, I said Tim Cook, I've said this before, and people in the gay community, like Josh Davenport, Albany Josh, our biggest gay fan at this point, until Mr. Morris comes out, of course.
Oh, God.
No, Mr. Morris, that's a complete joke. I apologize. Mr. Morris is a guy, it does not look like he takes that lightly.
No.
Actually, I looked at Mr. Morris and I was guilty. I was guilty of prejudice. He came by the gig in L.A., Mr. Morris, with a chick, much lighter skin than him. And he had an L.A. hat on, and he looked very, very, let's say, the movie Colors, extra. Extra the movie Colors, who might yell, "Fuck you, Pac-Man!" "Yo, Pac-Man, what up, chill?" He looks like a guy who says Holmes a lot. And not Pete. That's why it was perfect for... I said to Mr. Mars, go back to your L.A. gang members and talk about the show. Yo, Holmes. Yo, Pete Holmes. So when they say Holmes anyway. So, by the way, short for homie. Comey. That's right. Comey don't play that. That's what he said to Hillary today. Yo, Comey don't play that. Comey the clown. That's what we're calling him in the Clinton camp. We've got a PR man, not a Puerto Rican public relations, come up with name for Comey. Comey the Clown. Based on some college skit. And yeah, Anderson Cooper's asshole. The prize. But, I'm trying to think of a chick now. Like, I know when I was young, a chick like you imagine how tight, Esapatha Murkison's pussy, no. African-American woman on Law & Order, no. But no, that first brunette on Law & Order. Remember her, that little spinner? That was not a no-spin zone. But Kate Bosworth has that thing in the movie, what is she in? She's in something. 21, the movie 21 about bringing the house down. Couldn't be called Bring the House Down, which was the name of the book that the movie 21 was based on, which is the coolest name of a book ever. Could not be called that. About the coolest subject ever. Those kids in Harvard who math students, or MIT. MIT. Had a system where they took down the house in Vegas, beating them in blackjack. That's not allowed, by the way. Vegas is a privately run organization. They can win enough money off you. They're building toy versions of Paris. Eiffel Tower, etc., etc. But you get too good for them. Bye. Yeah. Fuck off, motherfuckers. Anyway, the movie based on that could not be called Bringing Down the House. Name of the book, great name. Why? Because Steve Martin and Queen Latifah made a movie of the same name, Bringing Down the House. Bringing Down the Comedy House. I think it was either that or Pink Panther 16. By the way, I'll say this again because we constantly change podcasters. I have the perfect name. If Cam Newton, there's rumors, I don't know if they're true, that Cam Newton of the Carolina Panthers is in fact, no proof of it at all. No proof of it at all. But there's rumors. And if the Carolina Panthers, I gave him and I handed him a silver platter. He could be called the Pink Panther. That's his nickname. The Pink Panther.
How do you not run with that?
And sometimes he passes. So if he passes, scores a touchdown run or passes throws a touchdown pass, you just hear dun dun dun. That's it. And you don't have to pay because it's less than 6 notes.
Right.
Dun, dun, dun. The Pink Panther. The Pink Panther. We were doing. Anyway, my point was Anderson Cooper's assholes might be like Kate Bosworth's pussy to heterosexuals. And you get that pussy, you get that ass. He's got fucking New York money. His family bought New York. He bought everything above 40. His great grandpappy, who I do believe was not homosexual, could have been though. He bought everything above 14th Street for like $8, and that kicked in. And I don't know, he owns everything. And very tragically, I don't remember joking about this. His brother did kill himself, but that does mean I don't know if Gloria Vanderbilt's still alive, but there was a great documentary, a great tribute to his mom.
I think she is.
I'm kidding around. I love Anderson Cooper. I really do. He's a great broadcaster. He's the one guy of all these guys that's I think a real pro. I mean, I think it's obvious what his political opinions might be, but not that obvious. I think he treats everybody fairly. He isn't very, very funny when Trump does something extraordinarily crazy, and he gets that. He does that thing Marv Albert did with the Knicks when a shitty player would score. He does that. His voice gets a little surprised. Vandaway over to Yoing kicks it. Oh, Eddie Lee Wilkins scores a basket. So anyway, I can say something. Trump visited Harvard today. He's part of the Jelly Brand Pudding Club. So anyway, I think he's a pro. But if I'm gay and I'm single in New York, if I'm thinking, what's one guy? What's one guy? The guy who was the professional with a very, very respectable job, probably the best at it now. Great connections.
Lives in a firehouse.
Well, I'm sure it's a very, 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 very renovated firehouse. I'm sure it's not an average pole. I'm sure it's a pole you could slide up as well. Yes. Anderson Cooper. And featuring from Gambino family, Angelo Quack Quack Ruggiero, Eddie No Neck Napolitana, Billy the Rim Job Antonio. Eddie, I got my nuts stuck on an electrical fence when I was 12. Fistiano. The chicken man who they killed in Philly last night. Tester. Eddie Pilato and the Pilato Boys. Homie, don't play that. Jig Jig McGrew. That was extraordinary burp. Very defined. Very defined. Oh, those are the Lebowski urban achievers. Children who are necessarily, well, not necessarily. That is the Mr. Lebowski urban wonderful man. No, that was taken when Mrs. Reagan was First Lady of the country, not of California. Oh, well, you know, Miss Reagan's a wonderful woman. Please don't touch that. You didn't go to college. Oh, no, I was busy occupying different... This is Bunny. Bunny, Mrs. Lebowski. Mrs. Lebowski. I'll suck your cock for $1,000. Brent can't watch. You has to pay $100. That's wonderful. Mr. Lebowski, this is Brent over at Mr. Lebowski's house. I hope you're not, this is my favorite line ever, I hope you're not avoiding this call because of the rug, which I assure you is not a problem. Oh, the heroin he must have been doing. Philip Seymour Hoffman is great in a lot of things. When he all of a sudden kisses Wahlberg in Boogie Nights, I think they really had to give Wahlberg a big warning there. You know, I like Mark Wahlberg because he's not a typical Hollywood guy. He'll drop you. He'll drop you. And he has the juice to do it from what I hear. And I got to tell you, Donnie Wahlberg will pick up the slack. But you got to worry about a kid from Boogie Nights and one of the new kids on the block picking up the slack. And, and then the guy who makes those fucking Wahlburgers will look astonishing. But I got to tell you, again, if you're, there's a story of James Caan, the guy who played Carl in The Godfather, James Caan, when he goes to get him after he beats up Connie, goes, hey, Carl, come here, and throws a stick at him. Now, the story is that he did not tell the guy playing Carl he's going to throw the stick at him. And if you see the guy playing Carl, Gianno Versace, whatever, ducks, Caan did not tell him. That's something you do with an actor like that if you're James Caan. If, in fact, you're a young, roly-poly Philip Seymour Hoffman, and you're thinking out of nowhere kissing a young and full of cum right out of Boston, Southie, Mark Wahlberg, if you're thinking about not telling him you're going to French kiss him, not a good idea, I'm assuming. I think you run it by him. And I think you compromise and you give him a peck, which is what happened. But, he's so funny. Philip Seymour and the Big Lebowski in a very small role. The way he walks, like those choices he makes. Like, Mr. Lebowski is in seclusion. He thinks carpet pissers did this? They gave dude a beeper and $20,000 just for making the handoff. Just for making the handoff. Grab the ringer, dude. What is this, dude? This is heavy. You're right, dude. The ringer cannot look empty. What the fuck is this, Walter? Those are my underwear, the whites. What are you thinking? Now, you're right, dude. I got to thinking. This could be Nelson Marsupial. So anyway, we're joking around here, but what I'm saying is this. I did an interview with Jillian Barberie. Jillian Barberie is a smoking hot chick who's a big Stern fan, was from the day I was there over 20 years. It was always very nice to me. I didn't think I could bang her because she was 32. Now she's 52, I think I can bang her. When she was 32 and I was 32, no. Now that we're both 52, guess who hung around showbiz a little too long? I say to my friends, she came to the Stutter and John fight. in Atlantic City when John won that fight. And we were staying at the Trump Taj Mahal. God, what a beautiful place. Bill, put it this way. A few years later, I did a roast joke about Donald Trump. I got it from somewhere. Taj was a Taj still. That's where the fight was. We all got rooms. I banged Dana. And in the afternoon, it was a very, very fun time. It was. We did stand up that night at the Taj before me and John and Nick DiPaolo and a couple of Florentine sold it out. Sold out the room at the Taj. It was a big room. And I closed, of course, destroyed. And had sex. Here's my girlfriend, but what the hell? I'm choking up. I had sex before the Taj before they're going to demolish it eventually, so I'm proud of that. Hung out with Trump that weekend, too. He came by to fight. He knew where his bread was buttered. Took the helicopter down because he was starting the fight. Stopped by the Stuttering John fight. That's what he did. He covers every base. He covers every base because he's a businessman now. Think he wants to talk to Mike Pence every day? Think he wants to get the daily prayer breakfast fucking reading? Mr. President, as you know, I have a sex dungeon that I keep there with actual living people that are enshrined in leather encasings. We're not sure if they can breathe, but I'm sexually turned on by it. We have it there as a test for me because I strayed in this world years ago, and my wife Brunella stayed with me. There's always a story like that when you get the Jimmy Swaggart. Yeah. So anyway, I couldn't bang her then. I think I can bang her now, and I think this interview you're going to hear on KABC, where she asked me to come on, begged me, and I said okay, and I'm what you call hilarious on it. This interview I did with her, where we're going to play as part of the podcast. You can see I'm being funny, and she clearly wants to fuck me. Dan, you heard it. Your thoughts?
I think she wants to fuck you.
Yeah, but Dan didn't hear. Dan does this awful thing where, again, he wants to please me so bad that I'll ask him, "Did you see this thing?" And I'll go, "Yeah," even though he didn't. And then I go, "What?" And then I talk to him for 5 seconds, and then he clearly didn't hear a second of it. Either that or you're the worst, you're not smart, and you're a smart person. That's the thing. You know every line to every fucking movie. You're the only guy who's even close to my league. Not in it, close. And so you can comprehend. You're just disinterested because I'm doing well on it. And if I can be around you in real life when you're doing well, and concentrate on me not doing well. There's way more failure here than success. You got to concentrate on the success. Sorry, I can have a little success. Can't be Mr. Successful 24/7 like you over there. So yeah. Yeah, you know, that big deal. Who can't do a Chinese voice? At the end, I do a stereotypical Asian voice. Hilarious. I don't know. She's laughing. So there's that. And we're going to follow up with a Stern theme of Jackie the Joke Man Martling. So those are two interviews. Jillian, Jackie, both are compelling. Enjoy this podcast. I love you all. Take care, Bush.
Do we have Artie on the phone?
Do I look like I know?
No. And you don't know how to push any friggin' buttons either, so... I just want to really get to Artie because I'm so excited to talk to him.
All right. It looks like we do have Artie Lange on the line. Artie Lange, welcome to the program. Thanks so much for stopping by.
Hey, what's up?
Artie.
How you doing?
We are so good. I'm so happy to hear your voice, and thank you for coming on the show. How are you, my friend?
Hey, Jillian. Anything for you, Jillian.
I love
How you doing?
I'm good, Artie. I'm really good. I was just telling John, talking about you watching Crashing, seeing everything happen for you on HBO, I got really, really, really excited. How did all that come? I know you're friends with the comedians, and Judd Apatow's a big part, but what happened and how did that come to you?
Well, I mean, everything after Mad TV. Well, Mad TV led to Norm Macdonald. Norm Macdonald led to Howard Stern. And
Dirty
everything.
Work. Can we just
Well, yeah, right. Well, everything after that led to everything after Howard led to everything else. I mean, you can trace everything back to Howard. Judd's a Howard fan, and he knew about my book, Judd Apatow, and he bought my book.
Too
There
drunk
was
to
stories.
fish?
It's funny. Amy Schumer was, after she did that movie with him, Judd was asked how he found about Amy Schumer. He said he was in traffic on the 405 in L.A., and he heard her telling stories about her life, and he called her. And I said to Judd, "Well, were you in traffic for 8 years when I was on the show telling stories about her life? What happened there? Nothing that interests you?"
Go ahead.
Well, no, I'm just saying, just to answer your question, the short answer is he read my book and thought of me to audition for it, and I did, and it was, I got it.
And that was the Too Drunk to Fish book.
Too Fat to Fish.
I'm sorry,
yeah.
Too Fat.
Too Drunk to Fish would not have been as successful.
It's funny because I did read Too Fat to Fish, and I loved it. And I want to say, your honesty is one of the things that, people that listened to you for so long on the Stern Show and listened to your podcast as well. They love you and they love your honesty. How is everything going after what happened with the arrest? And you're good, right? Everything's fine. You're back.
First of all, when someone says they read your book, sometimes when you ask them questions about it, they forget some details. You forgot the title.
But Artie, in my defense, I did interview you a long time ago after I read it, and I
know.
I loved it.
In honesty, you told me you thumbed it. But no, I listen. I was jealous of my book after you said that. No, you know what? Look, I'm very honest on the show. I'm very honest everywhere I go because I don't know what else to. It's funny. My whole life was research for the job I have. I didn't even realize it.
Yeah.
But when I went to audition for the show, I wasn't going to go in because the original audition was 2 lines, and it was. It was not me. It was a fictitious character, a comic that they made up. And then, but for Judd Apatow, I said I'll go in because I respect the guy. And I went in, and by the end of the audition, the name of the pilot episode was Artie Lange, and that was all from being honest. And I got arrested, but it went away. It went away. I can't say how, but it went away. And I do what I can. I'm not going to lie to people and say I'm Jack LaLanne. But,
in that tight jumpsuit, I'd like to see you in that with the bulging contusions and whatnot. But
yeah,
juice man.
I've been worse. Put it that way.
So let's talk about this journey because you're a huge part. I remember going on Howard Stern, and one of my biggest things was I was so afraid Artie was going to rag on me, and I. You couldn't have been. You couldn't have been so much. You were so cool to me, and it was Robin that ended up ragging on me. And that show, really, your honesty. It's an honest show. They hang everybody out to dry. They might love you one day, the next day it's your turn. Right. Does that prepare you, or were you already prepared anyway because of who you are and the honesty that you have?
That's a good question. A lot of comics say, when you got to the Stern Show, it sounds like it was like you were born to do it, and. When I got the audition when I got to be in the rotation of guys that were trying to get that job, I said to my manager at the time, I had been in L.A. for 6 years. I lived in L.A. from 95 to 01, and I did 2 years on Mad TV and 2 years on Norm, which I had sitcom money, I had network money. So I bought my mother a house. That was the first thing that kind of got me like goals that I had when I was younger, and it made me feel good about myself. But I totally thought that I was going to have to go back to L.A. to play the fat neighbor on some sitcom to pay for it,
Wow.
And the Stern Show came about, and I said to my manager, I said, look, I may not be as funny as every one of these guys here, because there were heavy hitters sitting in that chair, but I said, I guarantee I know that show better than anybody. I'm a bigger fan than anybody, because my old man turned me on to it when I was 13. They drove a van all day, and that's literally how we bonded. If he was still alive, it would be like it would be like I became a U.S. senator to him, literally.
Yeah.
He would be that proud of it. So I just knew when to shut up, too. I knew when to talk, when to shut up, and that helped me get it. So I was prepared for it.
One of the things that, people, when they listen to you on that show is you talk about your family, your mom, your sister, and your dad, and how he did turn you on to that show. And I think people really related to you. A.J. Benson was on the show earlier today, and he was saying, that chair was meant for Artie. And he sat in that chair before you came along. It's such a hard seat to fill. And I think I listen every day and I hear the stories. And one of the things I really miss you on that show. And I know you hear that all the time, but I think that it's your honesty and the stories. My God, when you would come on and he would talk about something and you would just go, oh, that reminds me. And your Mad TV stories, your Norm Macdonald stories, they're so brilliant. And when Don Rickles recently passed, I was thinking of you so much because of Dirty Work and that
scene in the movie theater,
Baby Gorilla, and it's so brilliant. What were your thoughts about that when he passed, Artie?
It's so funny now when someone when someone you met even like once on the street dies, everyone asks you for a tweet. What are you going to tweet? I'm like, I don't know. Like if Carrot Top dies, I met him a couple of times. I like him, but I don't need to tweet about him. But Rickles was a guy when my manager said, I said I should because he was someone who that was the first scene I ever shot in a movie, and he was nervous because he never played himself in a film where he insults people like that. And he was so funny. I mean, you know, I was able.
You guys kept laughing, right?
Oh, I couldn't. No, I mean, Norm, if you rent the movie, is still. There never was a take where Norm didn't laugh.
How many takes did you guys have to do?
Well, he freaked. Listen, we tried to write him lines, but he was like, just tell him to look at me and Norm and insult us. That'll be fine. And there was a kid. We shot it in Toronto. There was a Canadian kid named Darcy, and he you know, Rickles from the Sinatra era. You know, he started saying, because your name's Darcy, that means you're gay. And so Rickles keeps going. He was the kid, but the kid was a tough kid, like a key grip construction guy. So Rickles kept looking at him and going, Darcy. So me and Norm would laugh so hard, and the kid was 20, didn't grow up in New York. He literally looked at me and Norm and went, "Hey, what's with this old guy and the insult?" And, we said, "Well, you should be proud. Don Rickles is insulting you, you dope."
Yeah, you dope. It's a badge of honor. Let's talk.
I said Darcy is a gay name. Look it over.
Let's talk about Artie, your podcast, because you have had a lot of shows that have gone on. That you did one with Nick DiPaolo. You've been great friends with Nick. Then you have a podcast on your own. You get everybody. You get athletes and actors and comedians because people know you. They want to come to you. It's like we have Jonesy from the Sex Pistols who has a show here, and every day
great.
he's the best. And so he'll have like Adam Sandler and Jack Black. You get a real nice mix of people because of who you are. Talk to us a little bit about your podcast.
Well, I get those people because I can't get Adam Sandler and Jack Black.
That's baloney.
I'm forced to get B-list, C-list. No. I don't know. Listen, there's certain people who have nothing to lose in their career. Like, you know, it's the old saying with Howard that he changed to get A-list people. There's probably some truth to that. You know, I don't think Gwyneth Paltrow would have done the show if I was sitting a foot from her. I don't think anybody...
You don't think so, Artie? I do. I think that, yeah, he changed. He's evolved, and he's doing a different... I think he wants to go out on a different kind of a legacy. But I do think those A-list, because, Artie, you were Edge. There's no doubt.
But there's risk involved with Edge, though.
You think? You
right.
think that
I mean, but listen, the thing is, if right, he's doing the Gwyneth Paltrow talking about her $200 green drink, and you know, now, if he did that in 1982, he'd be homeless. Yeah. You're saying if she's in there and you're in there, you would have say something about that, and it would I'd have to stop talking. I'd have to not talk.
It would piss off her publicist, and they would say, "We're not doing that show anymore." That kind of thing.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not. You know, and that's what happened. I mean, so I was starting to become a little bit of a liability with the new show we wanted to do, and I get it, but you know, at the same time, what is he going to do? Fire me? He doesn't want to do that. No. So you know, the natural order took its course, but I don't think I could be on a show where, you know, we have Richard Christie comes in, who I love, and says his guinea pig died, and he's crying about it, and we're not allowed to goof on that because Howard likes animals. I don't think I could have goofed on Richard crying over his guinea pig dying. I don't think I could have done that.
You could have totally goofed on is it Tico Taco?
Yeah, right, exactly.
When he was crying, it made me so sad when Richard was crying. But I think you still could have. I loved it. I still think you could have because you're Artie, and you don't think so?
Well, Howard would have done it too in the old days. If you remember, Jackie, when the show was still local, Jackie's dog died, and they goofed on Jackie for 4 days because he was upset his dog died.
It went for years. His cat,
right?
Timmy,
It's different now. I mean, Richard was literally going, and they put little wings on him on the internet like he's in heaven. And literally, he was a guinea pig was in heaven, and I can't get over. And Howard, of course, married himself to crying over cats dying, so he can't goof on him. And, you know, I didn't get the memo that we're not allowed to do that with certain people, like Tom Bergeron.
What happened with Tom Bergeron?
No, I goofed on Tom Bergeron on the wrap-up show, and Howard said, you can't do that anymore. I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do?
Are you
Just email me.
Oh, my God. I didn't know that. I assumed that everything happened because I did email Howard after, you know, things went south for you, you know.
I know, it's a nice way of saying it.
Well, I was sad. I was really upset. And
I know. You're genuine. You are.
I am, Artie. And man, I love you. And I was like, oh, my God. And I did email him, and he was sad. He said, I want Artie to get everything that he deserves. I want him to get the help and everything. This was years ago, of course, after everything. And but, you know, I know when I hear replays, and I don't even know if you listen, it's when I hear your voice, people get so excited. But your podcast, when you do it, it's a very different environment because you used to be part of an ensemble that was so intact, and you came in and fit in like a glove, which is so friggin' hard to do on that show. Now you have your own deal. How different is it working at artielange.com for your podcast that people can subscribe to? How different is that for you to go and do that on a daily basis?
Oh, well, it's way different. I mean, because I'm the boss. There's no one to stop me. Now, I'm not saying that's good or bad. I mean, Howard is. I mean, look, Howard is. There's no one better than Howard on the radio. I sat a foot, 3 feet away from the best ever doing it. And I find myself unconsciously ripping him off every time I interview somebody. But if I, like the other day, a lot of sports references I couldn't go far with Howard because he's a sports guy. I'm able to go nuts with now, and it's a blast. And I could do it for hours. There's no advertiser, so I like that. Just like it's Sirius. When we went there, we had longer segments, and it was more fun. But I like it better. But I'm not saying it's a better show. It's just after 8.5 years of Howard, I wouldn't want to leave, but if I have to leave, this is the perfect situation. I'm having a blast.
And we should mention that you go to artielange.com and people can get your
artiequitter.com.
Artie Quitter, yeah. Artielange.com, a Japanese porn site owns artielange.com. True story. And they won't sell it to me. Every time I call them up, they're like, no, we do very well right now.
Oh, wait. Is this Artie? Is that true?
That is true. Japanese porn site. Someone sold it as a joke, I think, years ago. So now my lawyer calls up and I go, well, let me call him.
Stop it!
And it's like talking to a laundry about your shirts or something. But then I go, well, listen, dude. I mean, come on, just sell it to me. I'll give you like $10,000. No, we make a very lot of money. Everybody know Artie Lange. They Google us, and then we have people have sex.
They call you Artie Wang. But you know what? JillianBarberie.com was the same thing, and I ended up getting it back after 10 years. It was a porn site, but it was not a Japanese porn. It was not Asian
Japanese porn site. And then I start going, is this Frank Caliendo? And they go, no. And they go, no, we don't know if I crime, though. We have people Google you, and then we have sex.
I love the fact that you go, can I have
We make money hand over lots of fists.
10,000. Oh, no, we do way better than that. No, thanks. We're gonna.
No, I know. The guy goes, 10,000. Do we make that 1 minute? We sell you heroin. You want heroin?
Oh, Artie, I love you. Artie,
I got to be the only guy who tried to buy a website, and now he's my heroin dealer.
Artie,
we got you China White. We got you.
Okay.
You want to make sex tape? You make sex tape. You'll be as rich as Kardashian.
You know what you... Kardashian. You need to go with artiewang.com and mess them over. And then
we call you Artie Wang. That good porn name. We make your porn name Artie Wang. And you as rich as Kim Kardashian.
Oh, my God, Artie.
You heroin addict named Artie Wang in our movie.
Artie Wang, I love you.
I love you.
I love you so much.
Can you get Jillian Barberie? Jillian Barberie and Artie Wang starring I Love You, heroin. I love heroin.
It's a great porn. It's a great sex tape. It lasts. It's short, and then we both pass
the money
out.
We'd make, sweetie. Come on.
And then we both pass out, and we.
And then you have John in the corner smoking crack.
Oh boy.
Stuttering John, and then you gotta have AJ Benson make an appearance, and they
it would be great.
No, here it is. You and I are making love, and they're fighting each other in the background.
Can you get AJ Wenz's number? He's a good storyteller.
He's the best.
And your shirts are wetty.
Artie Quitter, I love you, Artie Quitter.
I love you.
Oh, thank you so much for coming on. And you can catch Art if you haven't read Artie's book. It's great. It's not too drunk to fish. It's too fat to fish. And you can get his podcast at artiequitter.com. And of course, HBO's Crashing is coming back. Second season. Judd Apatow, Pete Holmes, and Artie Lange.
I just got off the phone with Pete and Judd. We're writing an episode. It's hilarious. It's going to be great.
It's a great show. And
I'm trying to get the Japanese porn guy in it.
You should. And I could just say one of my favorite movies, if you haven't seen it, is Dirty Work.
Oh, it's a fantastic
it's
one.
It's so good. You and Norm Macdonald have such great chemistry. And
Thank you.
I love when Artie first came on the show. It was Norm was a guest, and Artie was his buddy in the green, and he came on like that. That's how this whole thing happened on the Stern Show, which is, I'm so floored. I listened to that, and I remember it from day one, and we love you so much, Artie, and we wish you the best. We were watching Crashing, and we will be listening to your podcast.
Thank you. I'd go to JapaneseAriwang.com.
Right.
Thank you, Artie.
Ready? Let me say this. The pussies who went to Fenway Park and gave Adam Jones a standing ovation, should be kicked the fuck out of Boston. If you're a racist, you're a racist. Own it. I don't want to hear this bullshit. I don't want to hear the Wahlberg family going back and saying, we were joking. We were joking. We don't think you know, nigga. You're an African-American, Adam. We love you. We love the Orioles. I mean, Jackie Martling, your thoughts. The great Jackie the Joke Man Martling's here. And one of the prouder things I've done is write the forward to Jackie's book, which is coming out October 24th. And you're a Howard Stern fan, even if you're not, but especially if you're a Stern fan. Is there a better stocking stuffer?
It's so fun because it's the simplest thing to wrap, and if you can order 10 of them, and you got 10 gifts for anybody that's a Stern fan, right?
The first thing out of his mouth, we have racial dissension. It's the easiest thing to wrap. I've had, as my third book coming out, I've never thought of saying that. You mean just to actually physically rap?
To physically wrap.
I thought you meant like rap, like you're going to do the audiobook.
That's what I thought.
That's how much the world has changed. It's the easiest thing to rap, yo. Getting my life to rhyme, very difficult. Well, that is
I'm
true.
actually doing the audiobook, and maybe I will do a chapter.
Did James Earl Jones turn you down? I tried to get a bunch of people, because I got my first book was so tragic, and I'm in this little enclosure sweating with an engineer, and he's just eating a salami sandwich.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm talking about killing myself and almost crying, and I look up and the guy's like, we done? Or?
He's chewing. He's watching the levels.
Yeah, right. The levels of shit that I'm doing. Yeah, are you done here? Or? Yeah, because I got to get out of here. My fat nephew, getting christened.
So did you do it, or did you have somebody?
I know. What I did was the book company was in the contract that I was supposed to do the audiobook. But I said, what if we do like a stunt thing? I did half of it. And then I did a rap on it. There you go, rap. This was the easiest thing to rap. I said that, look, too many people are too ambitious these days and finish things when they commit to finish. And I'm going to give you the art of quitting right now. I quit. I'm not doing the rest of this. And I had Bob Levy and Gary Delabate, and I paid them all a couple of grand. And
they read it.
They read it. Gary, with that voice. And I rewrote the chapter Gary had to read and had the number 9 in it for no reason at all. A bunch of times. And then I was born on November 9.
And then I thought...
It's October 11th.
I thought my life is not going as good as I wanted.
Let me ask you this, Jack. Forget on air, off air. Now, you're clearly a guy who busts balls at like level red, as am I, but you're great at it. Is there another human being that you broke balls harder on than Gary?
It drove
in
him,
your life.
It
in your life.
drove him crazy because he would come in and say, Howard, Jackie makes fun of things about me, not only that aren't on the air, that nobody else sees. He one time sent me. You probably know this,
but as a fan, we love that because I was a fan back then, and we knew we didn't care if we knew or not.
He sent me an email, and he spelled the word "make" AMKE, and to this day, people are still writing it Amke.
Imagine you're so fucked up that's not your nickname. There's something worse. It's not. Oh God, that's so fucked up. That must be your nickname. No.
Did I ever tell you that when I went back, I didn't want to go back on the show because I thought it was going to be really brutal. And Gary said, no, everybody's coming back on. So last week on the air, we'd really like to have you. So the second day.
Your last week at K-Rock.
Last day at K-Rock, I walked in there. I probably told you this already. I walked in. I don't know what to expect. I like worked out that morning because I thought I was.
You
gonna
look
get-
great.
So I walked in, I sat down.
I looked horrendous.
And I'm as a guest, and Howard's there, and Robin's there, and I'm sitting there, and Gary walked in and sat down, and I swear to God, Howard caught me. I looked over.
Right. You guys.
And he
are so-
caught me looking at Gary's mouth, and I looked back and locked eyes with Howard, and he said, "You're entertaining." I said, "I can't
Oh, that
tell
was
you how
so
entertaining."
fun. That was so fun. I saw. Listen, you know what happened. We had made a plan. I was definitely going to do this. It was my suggestion that I get up and let you have that chair that is rightfully yours for the whole thing. I said Jack may not do it just because it might seem corny, but we were going to do it. You know what happened? I completely forgot. I fell asleep. No, I said, what would you have done if that happened? That would have been too like corny. Like, what do you care? Right?
I didn't get, it was just fun. I sat there and had the time of my life.
It is funny. They call the chair there that just sits there empty, which I think is a tribute to Jack and I, mostly to Jack. It's a job he created. I was saying.
No, wait a minute. You're talking about on the air?
It's serious. I mean,
There literally is a place where somebody should be sitting and nobody's sitting,
there's a chair there.
and nobody's in it.
Nobody's in it. Shuli's in it sometimes for 70 hours before Twitter just kicks him off. Literally, physically, Twitter gets so brutal. If you see a hand.
God.
That chair's for comedians. I mean, he takes a hit. But Shuli is funny, but, he's not Jackie. And neither am I. But somehow Benji's in there. Benji, I tell you taught him right. Benji's clearly a disciple of Jackie's. You seem to like Benji. I have a great affection for Benji.
But wait a minute. So why isn't he sitting in that chair?
Well, because he was comfortable in the one he sat in when I was there. And Howard left it there. I don't think they think about it, but it is a glaring. When you watch the E! Channel and, Chelsea Handler's talking about the time she went on vacation with Howard. And it's so great. Yeah, that's funnier than Jackie talking about Gary or Gilbert talking about him. That's funnier. But, it does. It's weird. It's there. Just glaringly and just there with nothing, nobody in it. No Billy West, no Tessio's men, nothing. Pops all alone. Billy West, to me, the golden years. I always said is you and Billy, you writing jokes for someone with a puppet of you. And saying what you're writing, insulting you. It's roasting himself times 4.
Right. Insulting
So
the
funny.
way I talk, insulting what I say.
Yes, yeah, everything. You're like, and Fred joining in, and of course when Conan was there with the Conan, those are my golden years as a fan. When I could sit there and then and sleep until 9 and then hear the rest of the show, and then when I was on the show, of course, I would sleep till 9:30. Are those the fondest ones?
That's like when you're having fun as a kid and you don't realize it, and then years later you realize what a great time something was.
So much fun.
Those days, like I knew right then. I was like, holy fuck! This is so much fun. If it's got to be that much fun for the people listening,
Yeah, it
it's
is.
that much fun.
I think so. It was for me. I mean, I was a cynical comic. I mean, I was a fan well into being a comedian. You guys were a sense of home to me when I was going through my hell. What happened in L.A. was I tried to kick cocaine when I got my job at Mad TV. So I had to move to L.A. and do all that. I knew no one out there. And you guys, the 3 a.m. live show, I would drive around L.A.
So that was a taste of home.
Yes, I would drive around L.A. sometimes with a hooker. Not kidding. And she goes, "What is? Shut up. Shut up.
I'm paying you to listen."
Paying you to hear Jackie laugh." Yes, that.
I'm going to use that in the flyleaf of the book.
You should. I'm telling you, I would drive around like most times alone. There were times I let a hooker out on the side of the 101. It's 3 a.m. I'm like, yeah, Suge Knight will be by in a second with the rest of Death Row. Just calm down. Aren't you late for their party that starts at 7 a.m. every Tuesday? But and it was really a sense of home for me. And you guys were having fucking so much fun. And I was going to a writer's room where half of them were Stern fans. The other half were those alternative comic dickheads. Those Northwestern type, like
Too cool and smart for the room,
too cool.
guys.
Yeah, thought the Stern Show's dumb. It's dumb, you asswipe. They can't come up with a punchline. I was sickened by them. Not one great comic I know doesn't not like, from Norm to all these funny smart guys love Stern because they get it. These people think they're smarter, and they're not even close to smart. They're not funny. That's the other thing.
But you're sitting there writing with those.
Yes,
it
was
must
depressing.
been like the Mason-Dixon line.
It was depressing. I said, you know how much I'd rather be these people. I'd rather be laughing there with Jackie. And it's so funny that happened because you left the show. 3 years later, I'll never forget this guy, Joe Tarsus, who's Jamie Tarsus's brother. I might be getting his name right. You know Jamie Tarsus over
like
here?
the head of NBC or something like that.
She was responsible for Friends. At least she got the credit for it, which meant she got the credit for putting Friends on the air, which meant
over people's dead bodies.
Yeah, right. And that success with a risk like that meant you are everything. You're the new head of fucking show business. So her brother wrote for the Norm Show. He came in and said to me, did Jackie Martling get fired? Or did he leave the show? I said, I don't know. I was 20 minutes late for a network read-through sitting in my car. Trying to figure out if you were there or not. And Doug Stanhope was in the chair, who's a friend of mine and a comic I knew. And he was talking, and I said, is he sitting in Jackie's chair? Like, there were a couple of commercial breaks that went by. I, living in L.A., lost a little track of the show and didn't hear your last day. Jack, I heard, not only was I so removed from you leaving, I heard none of that controversy leading up to it. And then that's how I found out. I felt so robbed that was such an investment that I had in that show from the age of 13, and I don't hear the Jackie.
But there was no lead up to it.
Right. But there was sort of a thing where, like, you were sitting there. And,
I was sitting there.
It must have been a living
contract.
hell. Having gone through it, the hell it must have been for you. And I.
No, I didn't. I really didn't care because they just weren't. They weren't coming through with my contract.
It was a money thing, which is a real thing, by the way. I love how you're vilified because you were being American.
But you know what? I don't know. I'm sure I talked about this with you before.
Yeah, but you know what? I realize I'm approaching it like this because I realize we never really did talk about it the way I want to talk about it because my angle of not hearing how much I love the show and you, and then I go, I just found out from Jamie Tarsus's brother. They just went Jackie Martling. That's how I'm finding out from a kid who grew up in Beverly Hills. A kid, my dad should have got out of his grave to tell me you left the job.
But what's really crazy is that we couldn't talk about renewing ourselves because Howard was hanging them out to dry until the middle of December. Like his contract was up in 2 weeks and he hadn't resigned because he was making them meet his demands. And then all of a sudden, I was a bad guy for doing the exact same.
It's America. And I think you had the line where, like, Freddie, who, what you were trying to tell Fred was, Fred, no, you're that good. Like, we're good. Howard is the best ever, but we're good. Like, that's there's a reason.
He's the best, and we're helping.
Yeah, of course.
We belong
Of course
here.
that's true. Everything was... So what the fuck? The company has $1 billion. I mean, this show generates a lot of money.
They were printing. They literally were printing.
Right. So, and we're selling everything from ass mints to fucking whatever. And
Tom Chiusano says to me, if you don't resign pretty quick, your pay is not going to be retroactive. Jesus, you motherfucker.
I'll tell you, it was really like sort of an insult to not only you guys, but like. There's such little things that they do. First of all, the show's not union. Okay, that's a thing that they made me. I was in every union, but by the time I did that show, I was SAG after. I was on sitcoms for Christ's sakes, and it was a high profile thing. To where my lawyer said, okay, the powers that be at Stern called, and you don't want to get into it, but. No, I do that because it's a funny joke. Don was always very nice to me, but there were rules of that land that you had to adhere to. I was taking a big risk. Were you a union guy there? No.
You don't.
Were you in the union, though?
There was a whole big deal with the EAT contract.
Yeah.
That was an addendum to the contract, and I finally got a lawyer. They yelled at me for years for not having representation. Then I got representation, and they hated him. And the guy looks at my contract, and it says, and the E contract as per the E addendum. And my lawyer said, we want to see the addendum. And Howard called me up at home and said, what kind of lawyer you got? He wants to see the I said it's part of the fucking contract. Of course he wants to see.
Hey, asshole, what lawyers you got that wants to read the contract?
That is literal. That I am not making.
That's what.
That
listen,
literally.
If here's what the Stern Show did to Jackie, which is really a crime, public relations wise. I'm a Stern fan, and the way they bust Jackie's balls is he's wrong for being right, and I would sit there going, well, maybe Jackie's being the asshole that they say he's being. I've been there. He's not.
And you know, right.
He's not. He's wanting to get paid for something that he. Listen, I hate to say it, Howard. The team around him helped create that. What is that show?
Right, and I didn't make any bones. I didn't want more notice or any.
Grandiose it was what it was. Yeah, but it was going to keep being funny.
Right, and give me the money. And if you don't give me the money, I'll stop working here. There was no. There was no crap. People are so disappointed when they say, what went down? I said, I asked for more money, and they said no.
Well,
that really was...
And it's that simple. And here's how I think vindictive Howard can be. Like, Scott DePace in particular is a great guy. When I got the job, he said, look, congratulations. I didn't think they were ever going to find somebody to replace Jackie. And I said, well, they didn't, Scott. Howard changed the format of the show because to say... He wasn't going to find another Jackie. Because I could not do what Jackie did. I tried to with the writing thing. And Benji is good, but not in your league, obviously. And Howard was willing to let people think Jackie was replaced. He was willing to change the entire format of the show. There were less bits that, a writer would write like you. He had just started going out with Beth. He had the apartment in New York, the divorce. It lent itself to getting the fuck out of the office. His lifestyle was different. So he said, Artie will come in and we'll just go off the cuff and we're not ever going to replace Jackie. He let them think they replaced you. They never did. They just got another host of the show and they went down, even though Benji's great, they went down a bunch of notches with a writer and an on-air personality. Who was an intern, and then of course there's Freddie to pick up the slack. But the show was never the same without you. Now the debate, better or not, is one I'll say better to Jackie all the time because I'm a fan and you created that whole thing, and that's not the point. The point is, they never replaced you. That's what I wanted to. That's the point I wanted to make. We never said that.
And they never replaced the hole in the show when you left either. So
well, I mean then it became you know what, Jack? The transformation was complete by then. It then became a show of stories about cats. I mean, and Gwyneth Paltrow's Green Drink. Me and you are not fitting into that. And I'm proud of that as a comedian. A comedian should be a rebel. A comedian should be the outlaw who's not kissing Ellen, who's not telling Ellen the dancing's funny. I mean, what are we doing? What, the Twilight Zone here? And,
I really think that's part of the reason I wasn't brought back, because this was his chance to get rid of me. And he knows that he's got this woman 20 years younger than that he would have never spoken to in fucking high school.
Oh, right.
All he'd have to do is say, there's a girl that loves me, and turn to me and have to make eye contact with me.
Well, listen,
it's like me looking at Gary's ass. Like, who the fuck are we kidding?
Well, I mean, listen, it's a crazy life show business. Put it that way. But I'll tell you what. Imagine this show, and here's the point I want to make. The real winner is Benji because he gets a job. Imagine this show. Jackie keeps doing what he's doing, and I'm a host of the show. So instead of Benji, it's Jackie with being over me, obviously, as one of my. But Jackie and me doing what Benji and me were doing for 10 years on that show. It would have been the funniest. Like, imagine you writing jokes about me, busting on me, It would have been.
It would have been heavenly.
Heavenly. It would have been you tell it to any fan and they would faint. And that's what could have happened.
And people still talk about how they wanted that.
I would have taken less money to be a part of that. I really would have. I mean, obviously, I'd be way lower on the totem pole, and I'd have been fine. No, but because I'm a fan. Look, I came in. I benefited from the fact that I had quotes as a salary because of the sitcom and shit. And God, did Tom lowball me? I said, Tom, look, I got to eat here, man. I got a lifestyle. But
that guy.
But I'm really just thinking of that. They never replaced you. That's what happened. And Howard was able to, weave it the way he can. And whenever they brought,
and he's still pissed off.
And if you give, of course he is.
And there's so many fans that are still have so much venom for me.
And that brings you. That's the next point. That is so not right. And if you listen back to when I first got that job, and your name comes up, and sometimes they'll talk for an hour. Out of respect for you, I never make a sound. I never make a sound. You could go back and anyone will hear that.
Truth be told, you were asleep.
No, that was back when I was on coke. No, not a sound. Even Howard was decent enough to go, yeah, I won't put you in that position. I said, look, I'm a fan of Jackie, and I don't play. I said, if I was a fan, I don't give a fuck if you love the guy sitting there. I'd be pissed off if this guy was giving Jackie shit. Conan O'Brien said that to me. The first Conan I did after the show, he said, I was listening to where they were talking about Jackie, and you do something very smart that you don't bring it up. I said, you know what? That's not even me being calculating. It's just really, he goes, well, that's a good thing to do because I would hate you if you were doing that. That's Conan acknowledging it,
and that's you being you. That's.
But it's
that's
also look at how you reached the whole. I mean, you were a part of a thing where Conan O'Brien, who's a major comedy guy, Harvard guy, Simpsons writer, SNL. He's a guy going in that sentence saying to me, "Look, I love the Jackie, Robin, Fred. I grew up with that like you did, and I love it." And the way they treated you was shitty. It was, and I say that when you're not sitting here.
That's great.
That's what I wanted to bring up that we never really did before. Fans should know that.
The book, not to make my book, but my book, I got the whole story and every...
You go into all that, right?
Every penny, every nickel,
And you wouldn't call this you're not bashing Howard in the book, obviously.
No. I mean, I'm sure there's a couple things in there he probably wishes weren't in there, but, tough loogies.
What do you think he thinks of when someone says to him, Jackie has a book coming out? What's his reaction?
You know what? I can't even guess. There's no way he doesn't know.
Without question, he knows. Yeah.
But it's going to be the elephant in the room. Is he going to say anything?
Now, he brought up, I'll tell you why I think he knows, because he brought up that people, because I have a book coming out too, but much later than yours, I think. When do you put? Okay, October. I'll be way after 24th. Yours. But I think he hears me, you, blah blah blah, and John, of course, is saying John's, son of John, and I think he did a whole rap on the air, and he just mentioned books, which is such an insult to the audience. It's like if Jackie has a book, like say Jackie's name. Say what is going on? It's just weird. And quite frankly, he looks like a guy who's scared. He's the king. You're scared to mention our names?
Artie, some guy, I don't respond when, on Twitter.
Anyway, he said, if you cooperate with these books, you're not my friend. That's what he said.
Oh, really? So because people put stuff, and I never do that thing where you write a response to what somebody tweeted or underneath or something.
You're smart, because that's
somebody
hard.
Said, Jackie Martling's, it was something to the effect of Jackie Martling's putting out a book. Look at him just milking his old job. It's disgusting how, and I'm like, the guy's playing tapes of us every day on the fucking air, making billions of dollars.
That's another great point. People say, Art, it's so great that you're still technically on the radio. I go, yeah, it's like being on a sitcom where one guy gets paid. Like just David Schwimmer gets the but
here I am,
that's the first
but
thing.
I'm taking advantage.
But secondly, it was a job you had for almost 2 decades. People talk about their life in a book. You're supposed to ignore that? That would be weirder if you don't talk about the show.
Of course.
I was there a decade. It feels like, let me ask you this too. Now, of course, I know. Do you think me and you with the schedule? I mean, you would stop drinking by the time you left the show.
No.
Right? When you left,
you were I would have never been able to quit drinking.
Part of it was the partying, a health thing, literally a health issue.
Well, there was so many.
Did you burn yourself out? Put it that way. Was that part of the decision of like maybe you would have fought harder?
Well, you know what? I was sick of being tired all the time.
Right.
But the truth of it is, if they came up with the money, I would have been glad to.
See, I always think of
you make that deal with the devil. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Because you stand up money too. It's like.
Oh, is that?
And you deliver. You deliver. You go and people laugh their asses off, and you go, I could do this. Think about that. I could do this every weekend and make the kind of coin you only dream of, but I might die. I mean, certainly that was with me. In 8.5 years, I got burnt, and that was a big thing with me.
My accountant told me I did a 9/11 to my bank account. That's what he told me, because I made so much money that last year.
But what are you going to do though? It's like either if you make the money is there, but then you got to go to Phoenix to try it and get back at 6 a.m. And I always say,
then start all over on Monday morning.
And I always say this: Robin, exactly one weekend in her career there had Jackie and I scheduled. She went to Cleveland for a book signing. She was late. Monday. Now, do you hear anything about Robin? I'm very worried because she's not on the air. And it's all over Twitter.
A few people ask me, like I would know, and I don't follow at all. I've seen
tweeted,
pictures of her where she's very big, but I don't know if
I
that's
think she's
from
on
10 years
she's on
ago or 5 years ago.
So I think she's on some medication that you take and it gets you bigger. But besides that, she hasn't been there for like a month, and that scares the shit out of me because her work ethic is insane, and I just fear that she's sick again. And
so when she would see this, I'm not.
I tweeted, "I love you, Rob," and I hope. And again, very mysterious. I have been nothing but friendly with her. The last time I saw her and talked to her was at the hospital. Like, why would she not text me back and go, "Yeah"? Like we were friends. It's odd.
Well,
it's
you
so
know what?
odd.
It's they gather behind the leader. And,
I know.
It's Hitler-esque. You know, I mean, it's like
you and I know if we're sitting alone with Robin at lunch, she's going to say, "I miss you, I love you." And
oh yeah, I went to lunch and we had a great time.
I know, but now I'm very worried because she doesn't.
But
miss
has
work.
anybody said anything?
No.
Or just the fact that she's not sitting there.
She's not there. I don't think she's even her voice either. She was doing the ISDN line for a while because that's how much I don't listen. I
Oh, you say? Oh, you mean she's not there at all?
Right.
Like her voice isn't on.
That's what I've been told. Yeah, and I tried to.
Now, see, normally people would see. So many people. I'm not in touch with anybody who's really in touch with. It used to be anytime anybody sneezed, Jackie, they talked about.
Well,
it.
there is,
Now
that's gone. You're right about that. But
I don't even have those connections with people.
But you might be on my level of blackball to where he might not mention your name either now, which is so weird.
No, but I'm saying people would call me and say,
mentioned you,
Gary
not-
broke his arm or Robin's off the air.
Well, the only thing they called me about was where both my name and your name was brought up was Shuli and Gary got into a huge fight on the air recently. Howard must salivate when this is happening. But
About?
Everything about that Shuli wants to sit in that chair. And that was that awkward part where...
Does Gary have any say over that? No.
But Harry, he gets the heat. Shuli's not going to give.
Okay,
You know what I mean? You know the hierarchy thing.
Yeah.
But I think Shuli's point is Gary's not pushing it enough. And the fact of the matter is, Shuli did sit in the chair once, and I think Shuli's a funny guy. But I just hate the fact that they think like you were an established comic, so was I. Shuli was an intern. It's like it's an insult to me or you to go. I could just sit there. Well, no, it's like people
It's
don't
like
think
John thought he could do it because he had a typewriter and you could type things and it would come in front of Howard. It's
and he
not
did
as
it.
simple as just, I
You gotta be funny. You gotta be funny. But John is funny in a way of like the way he's used. He sat there one day, John.
I could play first base for the Yankees. Just give me a mitt.
That's
and
my
stand
point.
there,
Like they're not with comedy. We never get that kind of respect. That's what they're saying to you and me. And to Howard. Thank God Howard smart enough to go, no, you can't just sit there. These guys were in clubs. They were, whatever.
Go ahead, say it. Paid our dues. Go ahead, say it. Paid our dues.
Well, that's exactly what we did. But it's not only paying your dues, it's proving you were good doing it. Like Danny just didn't come out of here and produce a show. I mean, it's
not just did comedy and lived to tell about it.
Right. That's the other part, yeah. I mean, your stories go back to the... driving Eddie Murphy for the gigs when he's 50. I mean, does Shuli have stories? No, Shuli has stories about dropping his brother off at the dentist before he does an open mic. And quite frankly, if you see Shuli and his brother, the dentist did not work.
I told somebody last night about the China. Did I ever tell you the China Club?
Oh, what is it? Yeah, Classic Club. Monday nights were the big thing back in the 80s, right?
And so we were there for some reason, and Murphy was there, and I hadn't seen him in years. And I walked up and said, "Hey, Eddie." He said, "Hey, Jack." he said, "That Howard Stern Channel 9 show, that is the funniest thing on." Hold on. He said, "That is the funniest thing on TV." And no, I'm not doing the show.
That's great. Yeah, no, he got Stern, he got Howard, but you guys were. But you, he was starting when he was 15. And did you know Charlie at all? Charlie just died.
I did not. I met him a few times years later.
Right. Yeah, he wasn't. He figured out that those stories he had from hanging around his brother were gold, and Chappelle was brilliant for figuring that out, man. God damn it! But he went young. He 57.
But no drugs. It was cancer.
No,
or something?
no, leukemia or something. Those lumps and shit. He's like in those lumps.
Hey.
But anyway, Robin, if anybody plays a clip or anything, I love you so much. I hope you're okay. I really do. I just can't believe. I can't believe I can't get in. These people are not only getting. They're in the way of contacting Robin. Like Gary's an obstacle instead of helping me. That's odd.
When my house, I live on the Sound in this incredible house, and when it came available they tried to contact me because they knew they were fans of the show. They knew I loved Bayville and I would love to live on the Sound. And they protected me. They didn't let the guy get a hold of me and tell me the house was.
That's unbelievable.
Now it might have been to be nice,
Who knows exactly? But no, I think what you're thinking is right.
And Gary did cover my ass here and there.
Gary was a great. Gary helped me get that job. He's a big supporter of me too. When you were gone, and
as time moved on, he had to get closer and closer and further up Howard's ass. But by definition, he didn't have a choice.
Listen, Jackie, Gary's a guy who grew up in Uniondale, Long Island. He not exactly the Rockefellers, and didn't grow up with much, and had some bad breaks like we all do. But he brought up 2 kids on a cul-de-sac in Greenwich, Connecticut. So
who's laughing at that?
That's what I said. Who did well? And you're right, Jack. He's a guy who Gary knows his limitations.
Knows where his bread is.
He's a great producer. He produced the best radio show ever under a lot of constant fire, and that's what he does well. But he knows he's not going to do that kind of money anywhere else, and he stays there. And he's put in terrible positions where you're right. He's got to go further up the ass.
Right.
And you realize that too. He did it more dignified than say someone like a John, who John could really be a motherfucker, and then. I give John credit. He took a risk. He bailed, and Leno is not calling that much right now. I just don't want John to.
My favorite
be
story
homeless.
in the world is Tom Chiusano saying to John, "You didn't give us a chance to match the offer." John was making $40,000, and Leno offers him $500,000, and Tom says,
"That's another Howard." Howard says that too in the press. He has the audacity.
So painful. So painful. It's so wonderful.
Look, and again, they were always very generous to me after Tom lowballed me. Howard was in my corner to get the money and everything. So, and again, I didn't help create that show. I jumped on when that train was moving. When you created it, all I could have done was ruin it. And I said that first ratings book came out. I go, okay, say it's. I do this for the new podcasters because this is so funny to me. Say the first, because I've said it before. The first ratings book when I'm there, we're number 7. And everyone looks around the room, what's different?
Or thumb.
Thank God exactly. Thank God that didn't happen. But, it's something, what you guys created is, and I was able to jump onto, will never happen again. And when the show left, it was this tent pole for regular radio, and everything changed. And I think, Howard, I think sooner than later is going to make that decision, especially if, God forbid, Robin's not there to get out of there, and say there's a last show. Like, what's going to, there's a last show and a celebration, and you or I don't go to the show.
He has always been of the mind.
Will the chair go?
That he's always been of the mind that there is nothing. There's no necessity to that show.
Right.
Besides him.
Yeah. Now look,
Robin or anybody.
Howard by himself is so talented he'd bring back a great show, but not the Howard Stern show. Not the show you guys run. That's a different level of unbelievable entertainment. And to be a part, Rob Schneider, a big deal in comedy, a good guy, came up to me and after his first appearance there and said, "You replaced Jackie on this show." He goes, "You're in the Comedy Hall of Fame, just because you replaced Jackie." So this is on that level to every good comic. And again, I don't know what's.
That is that's a nice thing there because I have never had any idea what any of the comedians.
Yeah, well, because I was in that world
doing.
before, and there were some people so out of touch at William Morris where they said to me, "Okay, you've been on Man TV and the Norm Show, the 2 network sitcoms. You had deals. You could probably get another deal. You've been in studio movies. You're going to go do a radio show?" I said, "A radio show?" You're talking about the route. I'm not doing the Z Morning Zoo in St. Louis. I said, I'm sitting in the Jackie chair, dude. Wake up your fucking mind.
And this is
I would have fired
at
an agent.
William Morris?
Yes. I almost flew across it was a conference call. I was in New York. He was in LA. I almost flew across the country just to hit him with a fungo bat. I said, I'm not quitting to do a radio show. The way he said, a radio show? Yeah. I'm doing the Muck and Fuckface show in Phoenix. It was I couldn't even dream of the job I got because you had not created it yet. That's how special it is there. You know, and whatever.
That's so funny.
I think about that lineup. That would have been a murderer's row. Again, I would have been, I would discern and be the lowest guy on the totem pole in that studio. Whereas Benji always was. I enjoyed that.
I ran into Ralph at some point. Listen to this.
And then you backed up and ran into him again, I hope.
I ran into Ralph, and it was maybe a month or two after I had left, and his advice was the Kramer advice.
A month and a half. Okay.
He said you should
say nigger a bunch of times. I'm saying.
Jesus Christ.
You did not take that.
You need a roadmap to follow that. He said you should just show up one morning and go in. Say, I'm here for work.
That would be funny.
And you know what? That would have been so fucking funny. Although I'm sure I wouldn't have got past the reception.
I don't know. Maybe you would have got it. I mean, Howard's a guy. I'd like to think Howard would be a guy still at that point who rolls with it for a great radio bit. If he turns into call security guy, which he turned into, that's a great point. He turned into the old guy would have said, "Bring Jackie in." It's a funny thing. He turned into call security. He turned into one of those guys. That is how the fuck did that happen?
I used to get reports. People used to say, "Oh, Howard was talking about bringing you back today," and everybody else on the air, like the Robins and Freds, was screaming, "No! If he comes back,
with me
we'll
there."
leave it." I don't remember the time element.
You know what, Jack? Here's the thing. I didn't know I wasn't there. I do think look, I don't know. I can't. I'm not in Fred's mind. Thank God only he's there because there's only room for one of those type of geniuses.
Especially when they're running around like that up there.
But, it's like, I don't know. There were times where Howard would talk about that. And, of course, Howard's being passed for he's letting somebody else say the mean thing for him. I don't know what it was with the money, the way he spun it, what it was, whether I think, Fred might have been when you were like, it's America type of thing. You're rocking the boat at some point. Fred has the same agent as Howard. I mean, does anybody...
No, nobody does that. And so does Robin. Nobody does that math.
Right. No, of course. Who does that math? There are, it's Howard's agent, Howard and Fred. Two insanely smart Jews and Fred.
right.
Two guys, Goldman Sachs and Fred.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Fred. We spent all the money.
Goldman Sachs and Fred. If Goldman was also a comedic genius.
Goldman Sachs and Norris. Speaking about what's wrong with this
Goldman Sachs, Fred. Goldman Sachs, Fred, and a black chick.
And not even in that order.
Okay, that's what that radio show would have been. Jackie making the joke funnier and more offensive. No, honestly, what we're doing used to be known as comedy. If you're in your safe space at Brown University, we're not being offensive here. We're doing stereotypes. No, but I'm saying that is like what come on. It's like the Nick DiPaolo has a great joke talking about the OJ jury. Like, you have 5 guys who went to Harvard trying to outsmart 12 people who are maids at the Red Roof Inn.
That's great.
Well, whatever. The smoke cleared, and Jackie and I are still here. One of us is healthy. And no, Jack's got a book out, and I don't think there's anything in this book that's going to be dishonest or bad. Right? It's going to be.
Nothing.
It's a fucking interesting story, is what it is.
There's not one syllable of untruth in there.
Of course not. And I was very proud to write the foreword, and
I love you for doing that.
I can't wait to read the fucking book. People forget how much of a fan I was of that show, and
I'm just hoping people like it enough to say, hey, because it's all stories, like
just get it for
stories,
if you got a brother or father Stern fan, it's one of those things. They're going to be happy with it. It's one less thing you got to think about. Just get them the book,
buy it, read it, and then wrap it up and give it to somebody. That's the way to do it.
By the way, last time I saw Ralph, I said to Ralph, I said the movie Wreck-It Ralph was originally about you calling in during a great bit. No,
wait, I want to give out it's JackieTheJokeman.com.
Sure.
That's the
name.
Well,
we're going to do October. Why don't you come in? I said this to you. Come in every day in October, and we'll just talk about. I mean, I would love that. We'd have you and me on the show every day, and we could plug the book.
I'll come as often as you want. Oh, and I got to.
What is the number again?
I'm working at Ha on Saturday night, and it's
46th Street.
It's a day. No, it's a day of the Kentucky Derby, the place in Yonkers, which I really like.
No, that's the same place. Right.
That's
46th
a
Street
tiny
closed.
little place. It's fun. It's fun as shit.
There was a place on 46th Street called Ha that was tiny. I think it's the same place that they left.
Right, and they bailed out. And
they went to Yonkers.
Anthony went to Yonkers, and he's a good guy.
When are you playing?
Saturday night at 8:30 with this girl Tara Conestracci. Have you met her, the little Italian girl? She used to be the on-field girl for the Yankees.
Yeah, I know she is. I know exactly who she is. Yep.
She's
a comic, and she's
cute, and funny, and and what? She has a vagina.
She has a vagina.
Has a vagina.
All right. So anyway, when Jackie's book comes out in October, I'd love for him to come in the whole month. I made that offer. I know the fans.
Well, I have a sleeping bag.
No, come on and swim over. And look, but you'll hear more of Jackie hopefully on here when that comes out. Do you have a title for the book?
The Joke Man.
That's perfect.
Bow to Stern. Forward by Artie Lange.
Yeah, well, that's amazing. That's a good, nice. Now listen? That's a great title. And by Stern, you mean a boat?
Yeah, Bow to Stern, beginning to end.
Again,
nautical. I'm a nautical guy.
I'm with it. You are with a joke. With another Nick joke, I'll give you at my roast. Robin, you love your new boat because it has a stern on it. You don't have to fake laugh at it. Listen, that's a great time.
At Gary, do you remember Gary? Me and you were insulting each other at Gary's roast, but I said, so Howard, it's really great that you found a girl that loves you for yourself. Do you think that joke needs more?
My roast, by the way, I was proud of it. It brought you and Fred together to put your powers together and insult me. Great stuff. The book is going to be something, as a fan, I can't wait to read. I was very happy to write the foreword, man.
And I love you for that. And you can pre-order JackieTheJokeman.com.
JackieTheJokeman.com. How about the times are changing? No more. The number still exists, of course. But your first plug, any publicist will tell you, as legendary as 516-922 is, you got to say the website first. You always got to say the website. Say it again. It's
that's not my website. That's specifically
to get this.
To get the book.
What is your website?
I'm jokeland.com.
Jokeland.com.
But I don't do shit with it. But most importantly, I tweet a joke every day at Jackie Martling, and I saw the greatest thing. Somebody, I guess the Stern Show puts out a thing saying who's on the show today or who's on the show tomorrow, and underneath some guy wrote, "Oh, that sounds interesting. I think I'll go read Jackie's old joke tweets instead." Which was the greatest thing.
Perfect. Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, I mean, that's like a real fan showing. In that one sentence, he sums up the passion. Okay, and I'll end with this one quick thing. I'll probably tweet this, too. The problem with social media is, should I tweet it? Should I Instagram it? Should I say it on my podcast? Should I do it on a talk show? Is it my stand-up? The Bill O'Reilly thing, Bill does no job. He can't leave the house because he feels a little awkward leaving the house. He doesn't really do much. So his new book, it will be the first book that he ever wrote by himself with no ghostwriter. Can you think of the title, Jack? Killing Time.
He's such an asshole.
He is. Jack, thanks, buddy.
Thank you. I'm going to be at Ha in Yonkers Saturday night at 8:30 with Tara Conestracci. Please come out and say hello.
The walls will move. No better comic you will see, my friend, than Tara Conestracci and Jack.
I love your compliments. I'm